can sit at the chair right up there with the microphone at that.
Oh, alright. Do I need an attorney? I'm just,
Not court.
sorry. These just aren't my favorite types of things. I've never have been involved in one of these, so I'm not sure the protocol, how it all goes. How long do these normally last?
You know, we haven't had many of them.
Right?
So it really depends how long the board wants to meet in closed session to discuss the matter.
So, that was a question I was going to ask. Right? Is a decision generally made the day of, or does it take some time after, like?
I believe they will make a ruling tonight.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure how that worked. Do you get generally people from the public that attend these?
I have not been present for one before,
Oh, you have
but
not?
like most village meetings,
Good, good, man.
it's hit or miss whether or not the public shows up.
Sure.
We just never know.
All right. What's that?
We just never know.
Yeah. For me, this is just, it's just trying to put these kind of moments behind me.
Sure.
And I've been doing that for quite some time, and this is, yeah, not exactly what, but
Not how you'd like to be
I-
spending your
but-
Thursday, I'm sure.
well, any day for that matter, but I also understand. I get it.
Who do you drive for?
General Pet?
What is it?
General Pet?
Okay.
Just deliver like, so have you heard of like Prescription Diet from Hills? They're a big company. So General Pet and Hills are kind of like one company, and I just drive semi for them. I deliver to clinics, I deliver to Fleet Farms, Menards,
Sure.
just kind of all over. Go to Michigan, Illinois, all throughout Wisconsin here. Yeah, it's a good gig. I like it.
Good.
Been doing that now for about a year. Just went to school and got my CDL not too long ago.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of tired of the whole construction scene. I just wanted to do something that was a little bit easier and make a little bit more money.
Sure.
And
Yeah, there are
I
plenty
actually-
of jobs out for CDL right now.
there was I went through a program actually. It's called the FSET program.
Yep.
It's a food share employment training, and I called them as I was really serious. You know, and I wanted to make some drastic turns in my life so I can get a little ahead because I'm going to be 47 and I'm not doing the greatest. But they were able to help me. They actually endorsed me, paid for my schooling, which was probably, if I'm not mistaken, around $7,000.
Yeah, CDL.
That's what it takes. It's anywhere between 7 to 10, depending what school you go to. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah,
And,
that's a nice program.
yeah, and it's real. Like that was one of the biggest things. Like when I was just like, how much are they really going to help me? You know, and you know, to this day, I still call them and I inform them how I'm doing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because
I'm sure they like to hear.
I'm a success story through their program. You know, there was another person that was there that he didn't take it serious, and he was also endorsed, which really kind of pissed me off. You know, why are you taking away from somebody that could have really that wants this,
Sure.
and you just treated it like it was a joke? So
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Don't mind all the cords. They've got us hooked up to everything.
Good evening.
Hello.
there you go. So this was one of my friends that I was told that I could bring.
Yep, I'll get out another microphone. You're welcome to have a seat
Oh.
next
Cool, so he can speak. I can just slide this over.
That works too, either way.
Good evening.
Turn from here.
Yes.
We weren't sure where to put you, sir.
I'll go wherever you guys
You are just fine. I'm just gonna move your stuff.
What happened to your leg?
Oh, I had a tumor cut out, so I'm on these for a while.
Boy,
Brother.
Not a whole lot longer, but a little bit longer.
Good, thanks. How are you?
that was successful.
Yeah, it's all gone. They got it all.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't a fun last year, but it
No, I would suppose not.
it went well.
We stream the open session through YouTube now, so we have to have the microphones, because that's how the audio is.
Okay. And then does that also record it, or do we need to record it separately? One way or another.
I
we should.
recorded as
There's
well.
not a history of it anyway.
No.
Yeah,
That was my
so
thinking.
we do keep track of audio of the video as well.
Thanks, how are you?
And then they
That's
can
been a while.
make additional,
It's a good thing.
Okay.
so that that room is secure.
Quiet.
Could
That
remember.
was a good guess there. You had a, you know, you had a pretty good
This is Annie, our village clerk.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
And Joe.
Pedro.
Nice to meet you, sir. I was gonna say I was unavailable today.
So,
Okay.
I was so close the other day. I was
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
So that's
Just
why you've got
over
a
3
mic in
months.
front of you.
Okay.
When it's green, it's on. We just leave them on because that's the only way the audio carries through
I almost had one though. Oh,
the video.
so glad
Okay.
I didn't.
But then we called out
Likewise.
closed
How's
session.
that?
They did extra
Yeah, thanks.
reinforcement.
I feel better.
Through closed session.
Look a little bit better. I don't know if I've ever looked good, but
All right, was it recording already or?
No, I
yeah,
have
got another X-ray in about a month.
set a room.
That looks okay. They X-ray my leg to see how the bone's healing. Sure.
Yeah, right.
And then back to doing stuff.
What'd you,
Yeah, so
what happened with you?
I
Chief, how long
I
have
had
you been in
a,
Jackson?
for a bone tumor.
6 years?
Yep.
Can I ask
Benign?
how old you are?
Malignant osteosarcoma.
What put you at?
34?
Like you?
Yeah, about a year ago.
When
I
did the
need you to like
symptoms
me.
start?
I'm gonna go with 28. No, I
We haven't
probably-
done this in 2 years.
I was
So what,
probably,
you're
I don't know,
40?
mid
40?
42.
42?
Are you?
I had it since
I'm Dale. Dale Pony was. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
because thought I just missed my
Nice.
shin. It was a
Yeah, it's cool, man.
So it's not
You're a young
going
chief,
fast.
man.
Yeah.
no, it was very slow.
All right.
Well,
things go
yeah,
The rumor.
you know, I mean, how old do you think I am?
But I
Read the
I
rumor.
showed it to my doctor.
I'm not good at that. I'll say.
That's a game
He
no
said, "Oh,
one
you probably
wins.
bumped it."
I just want.
There you go.
If I,
No one ever wins.
I'm 64.
I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have said.
if I didn't worry about it,
30.
I'm sure I had it last time, guys. 'Cause I-
Oh, you look good. You look good.
And then
Yeah, I was, yeah.
and then eventually it started getting bigger,
And
and I brought it.
and you don't
back
have to worry. I'm on the home team, so
So within a span of about a week, we went from
not coming after you.
Fair enough.
we going through shit to we better get an X-ray to let's do an MRI to let's do a biopsy to yeah it's osteosarcoma. We're gonna
But if
you got 10 months of chemo coming, and
Wow.
all that happened real quick.
Wasn't there a
And then the
wasn't
treatment.
there a guy who was
still
a
on
chief
the-
here before you? Was he the
They
big
were able
guy?
to save your leg, though.
The
Yeah, they
chief
do,
before you took over.
called limb
The
salvage.
chief before I took over was
They-
Jed Dolnick,
It was in my
and he
tibia.
was not tall.
No,
In the past, would they have just cut your leg off?
Yeah.
thinking of someone else then.
Wow.
But now they do. So they
Our
took
lieutenant is a big
my
guy.
Yeah,
Todd,
out of
yeah,
his
that's
leg,
probably who I'm
are you
thinking
from
of.
the village here?
transplanted it over.
I lived in
Replaced.
Jackson in the early '90s
my tibia.
Oh, okay.
for about a year,
The other,
but now I've been here.
yeah,
for
what's that
15.
having it?
Oh, you're
Nothing,
here now.
it still has a tibia, so you got a tibia and you got a fibula. You don't need the fibula, apparently. It does no weight bearing. So they take it out,
Yeah.
switch it over to
Spare.
Yeah, it's like
Calvin lives. We live.
Built in parts.
Yeah, so like at my aunt and
Easy.
uncle's house,
Yeah,
like he's.
I
Yeah,
have a
uncle and-
room there myself. I've been living there with. Actually, came back. I used to work in the movie business. I came back 15 years ago. Had a plan. I was going to go back in about a year.
Yeah, all right.
Ended up staying, and it
Call it to order.
Are we expecting a third, or is it
She is excused.
okay? We still have a quorum, so we're good. So who's
Okay.
chief? Chair.
So, meeting is in session. Okay, we are here to review your residency requirement, or your requests, I should say. So,
Should I give a little
yeah,
orientation?
give orientation first.
By the way, do you want to call the roll?
I certainly can, and before we get into it, could we approve the minutes of the last meeting?
Okay.
I can certainly call the roll. Joseph Simon,
Here?
Michelle Clem,
Here.
and Michelle Zach is excused.
So then if either of you have reviewed the minutes from the previous meeting and want to make a motion to approve, there's only two of you, the other one can second, and then,
As far as approving the minutes from the last one?
yeah, which goes back a couple years. I
Yeah,
think they were-
I make a motion to approve.
I don't see the minutes.
They were in our,
Oh, they were in here? Okay.
email.
I,
Yeah, they're from the last meeting.
Yeah.
okay. Approved. I saw that stuff. I just didn't
so
expect
we-
it to see here.
We have a motion, and we're waiting on a second at the moment.
Approved.
Okay, so that's a second,
Second.
and then call the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
There we go.
Right.
So our previous minutes are approved.
Thank you.
By the way, on the topic of minutes, should I be keeping minutes? Are you keeping minutes? Okay, awesome. All right, do you guys have a copy of the agenda?
Do not.
If not, I can give you mine. You have extra? Okay. And then if you have an extra worksheet, I think that would be helpful for them to have as well. And if you don't have that, I've got that too.
I've got it.
Oh,
Okay. So, we're on to item number 3, overview of petition process and meeting procedures by village attorney. Village attorney is me. I'm Matt Parmentier. I'm the village's attorney. I'll talk a little bit about how this works as far as the procedures for the meeting. These guys have heard it before. It's been a couple years, so I can give them a refresher. You guys haven't heard it before, so this will be new to you. So I'll walk you through some things. These materials are in the packet up here. I don't know if you have all of this, but we can get any of it to you. First thing I like to point out is that the village has an ordinance called the Sex Offender Residency Ordinance. You guys have it up here. You've seen it before. You've probably seen it by now. If not, we've got copies, and it's available on the village's website. It functions the way that a lot of these ordinances function. It defines who it applies to, and then it establishes residency setbacks from certain types of property uses. And so in the case of the village, those property uses include schools, parks, daycares, libraries, et cetera. So there's a list in the ordinance that establishes what the setbacks apply to. And then from those property uses, there's a setback of 1,500 feet. So there are residency restrictions anywhere within 1,500 feet of one of those types of uses. I understand that the reason for the request for an exemption is because you're currently residing within 1,500 feet of a park. And so that's what brings us here this evening.
I don't know. I don't believe I'm 1,500 feet within the park. I know there's a rec center in the park that's, I mean,
Yeah.
1,500 feet's what, a quarter mile?
Yeah, Cedar Run Park is right.
That's a
over-
park?
Right across from the,
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. It looks, to me, it looks like a creek with a bunch of dead trees cut down, man.
No, that's across the street from the village, community center. That's the one you're talking about, right?
That's 1,500 feet?
That's the park you're talking about?
Cedar Run Park is in the corner of Hickory,
That's the one
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
Eagle.
Right, oh,
No, that's not that one, man. That must be
Oh.
like right where that creek is. That runs through the bridge, and then right underneath the bridge, that creek runs through.
Gee,
I didn't know that was a
okay.
park.
Oh, all right, well, you learn something new every day.
My mistake. I apologize. I didn't know that was a park.
No, that's all right. That's why we're here to have this conversation. So I do have, and again, I can share this with you. I do have a map where they measured it out. It's you're a little bit over 1,000 feet.
Oh, I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you. I just didn't know.
So, for any residence that's within those areas, that's what this stuff applies to. And more or less, the ordinance says you can't live, within those areas. However, the ordinance does have a process called an exemption. And an exemption is a process where a person can request like an individualized review and have an exception to, those, ordinance requirements. The history of this is these ordinances used to just say you can't live within 1,500 feet.
Correct.
And, you know, it is what it is. But over time, there have been some court decisions saying, that a municipality has to at least give an option for a person to come before and state their case. And, you know, it doesn't work to just have a one-size-fits-all, ordinance necessarily. So that's why you guys have this. So within your ordinance, there's a section on petition for exemption that says anyone can request one of these exemptions to live within what would be a prohibited area. And then the ordinance lays out several criteria for review that this body, this is the residence board, they're responsible for looking at those criteria, hearing what you have to say, and then making a decision on that exemption. One of the things that I think they just handed to you is a document called Residency Exemption Worksheet.
Correct, I got it.
Those?
Yep,
So this matches the criteria from the ordinance. And these are the criteria that the board members here will look at to review whether to approve this or not. So
oh, okay,
in a few minutes, we'll turn it over to you and you can tell them what you want to tell them about, you know, why you should be allowed to live there. But just when you do that, understand these are the criteria. So if you want to use this as a guide or, you know, speak to these things, because that's what they'll be evaluating you on, are these criteria.
oh, gotcha. Sounds, okay,
So that's why I wanted you to have a copy there.
yeah, thank you.
To look at and to guide you so that you are speaking to the right criteria. So that's the ordinance process. At the end of the meeting, they'll make a decision on this. That decision will either be approve the exemption, which means you can live there, conditionally approve the exemption, which means it's approved, but there's some strings attached if they think that some conditions are appropriate, or deny the exemption, in which case then the normal 1,500-foot rule applies, and then you're not allowed to live at that particular location. So that's where we get at the end. But in order to get there, we go through the steps that are in the agenda here.
Okay.
So, like I mentioned, right now we're at number 3, overview of the petition process. Number 4 is public presentation of your petition. That's your request to remain living there. That means we'll give you the floor. We'll give you the opportunity to say whatever you wish on your behalf to the board. If anyone else,
Outside, I'm sorry, outside of these guidelines?
you can say whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
Just understand that when they make a decision,
It's based on these?
based on this. But if you want to say other things, that's really
Okay.
up to you. And then, you know, if you want to say things too, that would be your time, right? Anybody who's speaking on the petition would during item number 4.
Okay,
Number 5 is a closed session. You know, it's just us in the room, but we're live streaming on YouTube. And so there are certain things that are not for public discussion. So for instance, if the board members had questions about your personal treatment history or medical things that you don't feel comfortable talking about in public, you can say, look, can we talk about that during the closed session? If you guys have questions or you say things that pertain to other people, like previous crime victims, that kind of thing, and we don't want to talk about them publicly, those are things that we could talk about in the closed session. So everybody sort of keep that in mind. Those are the 2 real topics, medical stuff and other people as it relates to the offenses. So for that closed session portion, we duck into another room. Also during that closed session, that's where I can give them, as their attorney, I can give them legal advice on the process. You know, how this works, just kind of give them a refresher on things, and do that confidentially. So we do that in the closed session too. It probably won't be very long, but that's part of it. No decision-making happens during the closed session. You get to see them, you know, go through the criteria and decide. It's just other stuff that's confidential that happens during that closed session. So that comes after you're done talking. These guys will probably have questions for you, and I've got some questions during your presentation.
Okay.
So that's going closed session, we handle that stuff, we come back into open session, and then they go through their decision-making, and that's when we'll put this, in front of all of ourselves, we'll go through it item by item, you guys will talk about, each criteria, how you feel about it, that sort of thing, and through that process, that will lead us to, making a decision, on the exemption request. And then we're out of here. So, does that make sense to you guys? Yep. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
Everybody good? Awesome. In that case, then, we are on to agenda item number 4, which is your presentation. Again, you can say whatever you wish. You guys can ask questions about things. The floor is yours.
Okay, well, my name is Calvin Carden, first of all. Thank you for having this meeting with me. I appreciate it. I don't really know where to start. I'm not really sure where to start with this meeting as far as what to say.
Your call. I mean, whatever you want to say. People typically sort of tell their story of, how they got here and why they want to live in
So,
location.
so I guess I could start off. I was released out of prison. I'm not exactly sure, off of a parole violation. I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago. I was residing in Waukesha, because that's where I'm a resident out of, is Waukesha County. During that time, I was put in a TLP through my parole agent because I didn't have anywhere to live. That time came to an end. And then I was living out of my car. And then I found out I had an aunt and uncle that was residing here in Jackson. And I reached out and I asked them if they would be okay if I could, live with them until I was able to save enough money, get on my feet, and establish my own residence elsewhere. That wasn't an issue with them. And that's kind of how I came to Washington County. I kind of stumbled upon it because I have family out here. And right now I'm just, I think about a year ago, I went to school. I went to get my CDL. I'm a truck driver. So I went from working construction to now being a truck driver. I've been with a company called General Pet. We deliver various pet food to clinics, different stores, whatnot. Since I've been in the village of Jackson, I find this place to be extremely peaceful. It's quiet, it's low key. It's what I'm looking for. I know I have a rap sheet. I know that you got it in front of me. You've probably seen it. I know it doesn't look good. I get it. When these things occurred, I was 18. When I take responsibility, I did it. But I've also think I've paid I feel a big part of me's paid my dues. And I know I'm still going through things, and I don't expect that to be taken off, but I'm just looking for an opportunity to keep moving forward. I got released originally in 2010. I went in 1997, and upon my first release, it's been nothing short of difficult. And that's because I made it that way for myself. I broke rules. I absconded on supervision. Done a lot of bad things. But this last time that I went in, I was in for 18 months. And I made a decision that when I got out this time that it was going to be different. And I know that things just don't change on themselves. Time doesn't make things change. There has to be a desire to change within. And I think good things come from that. I think I've realized that over time. And I've been out free on supervision now, probably close to 5 years. If maybe I'm a little ahead of myself, but I've been doing extremely well. I went to school, I got a good job, I got good benefits, I'm self-sufficient, I can take care of myself. I've got a good rapport with my parole agent. She's got nothing but good things to say about me. She's not here, but that's somebody that you could definitely speak with. And I don't think you guys have ever had any problems with me out here. In the time that I've been here, I've been pulled over once or twice. I think I did a rolling stop, and I think, but I think that's about it. I mean, I've never had any issues with the department or any neighbors. The neighborhood that I live in, there's probably 10 to 15 people that know me, and everybody that does know me is aware of my situation. They're okay. I have undergone an immense amount of therapy, treatment for my crimes, and I have successfully graduated from everything that I've participated in, from alcohol to drug treatment, sex offender treatment, criminal thinking. I'm just looking for a chance to keep moving forward. I guess that about sums it up for me.
Can we add anything or
Yeah.
ask questions?
Yeah, please.
You're our fourth case,
Okay.
right? For the record, we granted the other three.
Oh,
The offenses they were accused of aren't any worse than yours, all right? However, the issue I have with yours over all of them is that the officer states that you like to look for loopholes in the law. You see, if you had come to us before you set foot here and looked for, let me just give, do you mind? Kind of go on. The sex offender registry law, it's very brutal, I understand that. But it's designed to, number one, protect the community. But it's also designed to, how does the community know? Now, I've worked with homeless individuals and redemption and all that, so, but how does the community know that that person has changed? And the best way to indicate that for that person is to be following all the rules, okay? So if you had come to us a year and a half ago and said, I want to live with my uncle, here's my petition, I'm being straight. The fact that the police had to find you and that they made a statement that you like to look for loopholes in the law, those are why I'm leaning the way that I'm leaning.
sure. I can understand that.
It's like,
Can I have a chance to
oh,
respond
of
to that?
course, of course.
So the comment regarding the loopholes is when I spoke to the detective, or no, it wasn't the detective. I think it was the officer that had called me on the phone and explained the situation, that he was talking to my uncle and he ran me, found out I was living there, whatnot. And I had a lengthy conversation, and when I spoke about loopholes, for the situation I'm in regarding the Department of Corrections, right, and the law, it reads very fine. Like, I mean, every dot, every T's crossed, every I's dotted. So my agent, I was trying to figure out a way to where I could sleep, survive, live, just like anybody else would,
Without establishing residency.
and without breaking the law. So what I was understood was, and I think part of this is wrong, but the way I understood it was I was able to reside, and maybe this is just for Waukesha, but if you don't stay more than, I think it's,
Days,
I'm sorry,
10 days.
in a row.
Yeah.
Correct. Then you're not establishing. So, and that's what I was doing. I was leaving, and I was going to Waukesha.
But do you understand, though, that that's the problem? And that's the problem I have with with your petition, is if you can do it that way, then, okay, now I can stay next door to this person for a day, and I can leave for a day. And what that does is, by doing that, you're showing us that, you're showing one of two things, okay? If you came to us and said, I just want to be here, I'm pretty sure I'd be a yes. But the fact that you're kind of, okay, I'm here and I'm not, I'm trying to, that's the issue I have, is that you're not showing, I'm not saying that there's no future for you here. What I'm feeling is that you need to go and establish that you need to come to contact the authority, say, this is where I want to stay. Am I within 1,500 feet? Yeah. Okay, what can I do? Well, you can apply for the board, and then you're doing it right.
Well, and seeing
Do
that,
you
and
see what
that's-
I'm saying? Instead of kind of playing the game, and that's why
I mean, I get it. I guess there's two people. kinds of people in the world. Those that like to, I mean, I didn't feel that I was breaking the law. Therefore, I didn't see what I was doing was wrong. And I guess using the term loopholes, I don't want that to paint a picture. I got a bad picture of me to begin with. And I don't want my words to be used against me. I really don't. I simply was just trying to find somewhere to live until I could.
Which is respectful.
We want to help.
And at the same, it's so hard to work a job, clean your ass, excuse me.
Without a place to live.
Yeah.
So you were told you had 14 days to vacate.
Correct.
So where are you now?
I've been staying in a hotel.
Okay. Do you mind how many hours? Do you mind me asking how many hours you're working a week?
It averages. I drive truck, but Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday I work, and Thursday's an on-call day for me. Meaning that if they need me, I come in. If they don't, I don't.
You have enough money to pay for an apartment and food and to support yourself.
I'm making it. It's hard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get paid I get paid bi-weekly. I get about.
I'm not trying. We're not trying to ruin you. I want to help you, but I'm not sure that you quite get it yet. What I'm trying to say is, I think that you need to go and establish yourself outside of the. If you want to live with your uncle, I think you need to establish yourself for a couple of years outside the boundaries of somewhere, then approach this again. That's kind of like a no. Let's see. Do you know what I'm saying? And I know it sucks for you, but.
Hey, I can't make.
Of
Yeah,
course.
and just by the way,
I'm just being honest where we're at. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I
They have
appreciate it.
we have a responsibility to the community too.
Absolutely.
yeah, just process-wise, we're still on item 4, so you guys still can present what you wish. We'll still ask questions, and then I'll have some questions too. At which point, then we'll do the closed session and then shift to the deciding part. So we're still in the information gathering stage of this.
Yeah.
This point. So anyway, and just so that I get it right in the notes, you are?
My name's Dale Ponywaz,
How do you spell that?
P as in Peter, Oniewaz.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah, so, regarding what you were saying, sir, is, actually, in reality, that's what he has done over the last year and a half and yes, you're correct. And I agree, he should have come to the village right away.
That's really my biggest issue.
So, no doubt, he should have done that, and I said that. I said that myself.
When did you say that?
I said that when I realized that he didn't do that didn't happen. I didn't.
Before or after he got caught?
This was probably within the first few months that I had moved.
So you were living with him, and you told him to come to us.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that none of this took place.
Oh, you didn't know any of this?
Just till this happened.
Okay.
I didn't know any
Yeah,
of
I
this.
wanted to make that clear.
Okay, I didn't know any of this. So yeah, I was like, well, that's a mistake. You should have done that right away. Okay, that said, I've known Calvin for about 5-6 years. Okay, and just a little background on me. I come from a family of police officers. My dad, my brother, my sister, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law. I got a couple nephews that are in the force. They're all in Milwaukee. I'm sex offenders. I've learned a lot about that since I've met Cal. A lot about, a lot more than I did know, because I've done a lot of research on it. And there are definitely different levels of offenders. Okay,
Yes.
there's
Yes.
your real, people that don't
Oh, yeah.
belong on the planet types.
Yeah.
And then there's people who made mistakes, that, and then there's people that were young and they made a mistake. Okay?
Yes.
That was a
Yes.
mistake.
Yes.
He actually falls, his situation is a strong case for getting taken off the list. Okay? Again, I believe it is, but, and I'm not saying.
They do that?
I'm not saying taken.
Can you get it removed? Can you get removed?
Well, he hasn't had the money, the finances to hire an attorney to go do that yet. Now, he started working, and he's been working regularly for a bit over a year, and he has been doing really good. Okay, he goes to work, he comes home. That's what he does.
Something
He
which I
doesn't
never used
drink,
to do.
he doesn't go out anywhere, and I live with him and his aunt and uncle, and,
You're his friend, right?
yeah.
I thought you were his uncle. I know that you were with your aunt and uncle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm.
I had assumed you were his
Right,
uncle.
Right, so,
That's my
so, I have gotten to know Cal quite well during this time, and I have worked very, very closely with him to help him in every possible way that I can.
Sure.
And I can say unequivocally that nobody's gotta worry about him offending or hurting anybody. Again, do we know everybody that well that we can say that about anybody? No, but you know what I mean. I think I know him well enough. He stays in the room right next to mine.
I know it's been a very long time. I know you were young when you.
Yeah, he was
I was
18
18.
years old.
Yes.
He's 46 years old. I mean, his whole life is destroyed for a mistake he made when he was 18 and this was with somebody that he knew. Again, okay, I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just
Right.
saying. I mean, that's,
I think,
when I was 18, I had a girlfriend, she was 17 years old. But anyway, that has nothing to do with it.
Right. Did you want to add something? I get where you're coming from.
I was just I was agreeing with him, I'm walking a really straight line, and I don't want you to form an opinion based on the whole loophole thing of me.
But that's not the only reason, though. It's like I keep asking myself, would we be here right now if you hadn't gotten caught by the cops?
But see, okay, you use the word caught. I don't look at it as caught because I didn't see myself as breaking the law, right? So
If you're on a registry, I'm just thinking, if you're on a registry and you want to make sure that you're,
I guess not breaking, not realizing what, I have a PO that looks over me. I mean, she babysits me, so to speak.
did you have any idea you were in violation?
No, my
Why were
PO
you-
would never have. My PO would have never had been like, yeah, go break the rules out in Washington County.
Why then would you come and go and not establish residency? Or am I misunderstanding that?
I was trying to find myself. I was using my aunt and uncle as a place to live until I could establish residency. I was saving
Were
money.
you looking to establish residency with them?
No, I was looking to just get out and be self-sufficient, buy my own apartment or own a home eventually.
I might be wrong, and I'm asking this not as in an adversarial way, but to
Yeah.
try and understand.
Yeah.
Did you come and go at their house with the intent of not establishing residency so that you could avoid the find a loophole, I guess is what
No.
I'm looking for.
That is not. That,
Why did you do that? Why did you not stay for 10
Do
days?
you feel your POs would tell you that you had to do this? Or, I mean, I know it's not.
No,
Do they inform you that you're staying somewhere that you
Did
are
she
in violation?
inform
Or
you?
yeah, she informed me that, but I would, again, it falls into those days, like how many days are you gone before you come back and reside within the county, then you're not in violation, right? At least that's the way it was presented to me.
Right, but what I would have liked to have seen is you just say, hey, I want to be here, and I want to make sure there's no guff. What do I got to do?
But
I think this would have been a slam dunk.
But I don't want to be here. I mean,
Okay.
I don't want this to be a permanent address for me. Listen, I've come from a really different, like a hard background,
Sure.
and I've been doing extremely well. And all I want to do is save some money and establish a residence within my county. If I could find one, it is. I don't know if you're aware how hard it is for people that are in my situations to find a place to live. It is not easy.
Sure.
Can I just add something, interject this? I can assure you that his intention is not to stay over with his aunt and uncle.
No.
That was never his intention to stay there. That was, I mean, he's working and he wants to get out of there.
Right,
He does not want to live there.
I'm working to save money to get out, and now I'm. This isn't a pity party, but I'm burning through my money because I burned my bridges throughout my life. and
Yeah.
That's unfortunate, but I'm trying to repair things. Again, I'm not looking.
And I'm trying to help you to see what the things that you have to do. Got to be forthcoming. Hey, I want to be here. Make a decision.
I just wanna be here for like 6 months to a year, just long enough to where I can
I
save
don't,
some money and find a.
do you have anything you wanna add?
I got some questions too. and
I
don't
Yeah.
wanna
I have
get
some
to
questions
deciding
too,
yet.
but I want to make sure he's got his time to
Sure.
speak.
So let me turn back to the worksheet here, make sure we're collecting all the information. So I've got your application here. You've got nature of the offense. We've got 2 counts of second-degree sexual assault of a child. And then I don't know if you have your application that you turned in, but it's got another offense. It says a juvenile offense from 1994. What was that one? It doesn't say what the actual offense was for that one.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what that? Do you remember what that one was? Or do you want to see you want to see your application? I'll show you what I'm asking about. So that's offense number 1. You've got your 2 counts there, and then you've got something here too, but it didn't say it right here. It says
Oh, it's 'cause
what the
it was-
offense was.
Because I wasn't, I went through like a treatment center through this. I was a kid.
Okay.
I was a juvie. I think I was like 15, 16.
Are you guys seeing where I'm on the application
number.
itself? The very first page, there's where you list the offenses,
Yes, let me dig that out.
and I was just getting clarification on
Yes,
the offenses. There's offense number 1 is completed. Offense number 2 didn't identify what the offense was, and so that was my question. Thank you. Okay, let's see. So you were, as of 1994, you were a minor. How old would you been? 77?
97, I would have been 18. Wait, no. 70, or what year? I'm 97?
You'd have been 17 in 94, give or take,
Yeah, give or take.
I had 2.
and then 19.
So your last sexual offense was over 27 years ago?
Almost 30.
It's 96, is that the last one?
That's also a factor too.
So that's number 3. Number 4, recommendation of probation or parole officer. We don't have anything specific to that other than that he or she signed on to the application.
Correct. Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't think we have anything from them.
I left her number and her card behind with that information.
There's the parole agent statement.
He said there was no, and she just signed it.
Okay.
The second page lists other criminal history that aren't sex offenses. So you guys see that they're up toward the top.
The selling of the drugs, the burglary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to talk to them about that, they might have questions about that stuff.
I guess it all started back when I was maybe 14, 15. I was just a kid that was running around with other kids that were getting into trouble. I partied. I didn't take school serious. It's just a troubled kid, and the older I got, the more stuff I got involved in, and the drugs. To an undercover cop, had got kicked out of my mother's boyfriend's house in Sussex. I was homeless at the time, and I needed money, and I don't want to call them friends. They were people that I knew back then that sold drugs, and I asked them to teach me and to make some fast money. And one of the people that I sold to, I think the only person I sold to, was an undercover cop. That happened twice, and then
You broke into a church at one point too.
I
saw.
broke into a church. Yes. Well, I didn't break in. It was open. I was an altar boy at St. Anthony's Church when I was a kid. I was
It's
an altar.
considered breaking and entering if you enter, even if you don't bust nothing.
Yeah, but I burglarized the church.
Yeah. And that was how long ago?
This all happened in like 95, 96.
And according to the application, 97.
Okay.
So,
I was in prison when I was 20.
27
And
years.
minor age.
in 97, I was already in prison.
What was the registry violation in 9?
That would have been the removal of the bracelet.
Okay, yeah. See, again, I'm not trying to, there's two sides here. There's your, what you need, and then there's the community. And again, what we're looking for is, especially with the removing the bracelet in 2019, it's like, what has changed in your thinking that's, I want to work with, because this,
changed? I
again, this
grew
would
up,
be a
man.
pretty easy yes for me, outside of the fact
What
that.
what's changed is I grew up. I don't want to. I mean, have you ever just had something so much that you got sick of it and you just didn't want it no more? That's kind of how I am with my headaches, man. It's kind of how I am with the whole situation. Like every time I break a rule or every time I do some stupid shit that I'm not supposed to do,
You make
it
your
makes
life
life
harder.
extremely difficult, and I find myself having to start over.
Right.
Quite frankly, I'm tired of starting over, man.
Can I add to that? I met him right a little bit before that bracelet thing. And when that happened, I was like, well,
What do you expect?
geez, I was like, well, geez, that's pretty stupid.
You still have a bracelet on now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, but then after he went and had to take care of everything because of that, now Mary and Dave, they're like, well, is it okay? Is it
Did you
okay-
fit? I got something.
Is it okay if Cal comes back and stays with us again? And I was like, yeah, well, I don't mind, but there's gonna have to be some ground rules here that, that are gonna have to be followed. And-
Sure.
And
D-
so, because.
I have a question about the bracelet.
Because again, it's a reflection on me. And so
Sure.
what I'm saying about what I've seen is he is a totally different person from the person he was 5 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, he is
Is the
become-
bracelet being actively monitored even right now?
Yes.
So were you wondering then, when you were staying at the residence, were you thinking if I was breaking the rule, the bracelet would have triggered that? Do you ever get a?
No, I didn't think that.
No, I'm trying to work with you here. I'm trying to understand something,
if
because
I-
understand, I'm accusing you of something in my mind, and I'm trying to see if I'm wrong.
Are
So
you?
just let me ask.
Yeah, are you alerted when you are breaking a law? That's, I think,
If you go and stand in the park right now, would that trigger? And
don't know, because I wouldn't break that law.
what I'm assuming is, were
I'm
you just
assuming that-
mistaken?
yes.
Were you, because you were wearing the bracelet, were you just assuming you were okay? Which is a reasonable reason to think you were okay, and the bracelet didn't actually.
Well, for two.
That's what
reasons.
I'm wondering
For two
right now.
reasons. One is I never had a problem with the bracelet, and two, I never got a call from my PO.
Right.
Most importantly,
So
because
you would have got a
anything-
call if you went to like
anything that
If you went to the
GPS
zoo?
bracelet, so anything I do or anywhere I go, this thing records me. Or so all my PO has to do, or the people in Madison. For a prime example, some years ago when I used to work at this company, Elastazil, we had to go out to Illinois. I didn't have permission to go out to Illinois. As soon as I had crossed the border, I got an indication from my bracelet.
So it tells you.
Then I got a report. Then I got a phone call from my agent saying, "What are you doing in Illinois?" So the bracelet contacted my agent, which my agent.
That's what I'm looking for here, because if your bracelet wasn't telling you you were doing something wrong, then maybe you're not playing a game.
I'm not playing a game
Yeah,
with you.
yeah. And I'm just looking.
we understand you're not playing a game with us, but just to
I'm not
see-
playing a game. Period.
Yeah.
Listen, when I gave you the whole analogy, if you ever had enough of something, I'm serious about that. I'm tired. Look, I'm 47. I go back to jail. Guess what? I got to start all over again.
Right.
I don't have that in me, man. I've started over 4, 5, 6 times.
So if you went to your aunt and uncle's and the like if you went to the zoo, would the bracelet go off?
I would assume so.
So if the bracelet had gone off when you're standing at your aunt and uncle's, we
I
wouldn't
would
probably.
have panicked and I would have reached out to my agent, like, "Hey, my bracelet's going crazy. What's going on?"
Has it ever gone off where you've had to contact the agent?
Yeah, it went off the other days. I had a low battery. I didn't know it was low, and it was buzzing on me. So, but yeah, there's a number I call up in Madison. It's a GPS monitoring center. I can just call up there and say, "Hey, my bracelet's vibrating. What's going on?" Then they can tell me. But any contact that I have with them via telephone, it all gets translated to my agent.
How long do you have? How much longer?
I'm
do
a
you have?
lifetime registrant until I can try to get back into court and get it off.
Okay.
So I was gonna ask the same question. For, as of now,
As of right now, it's on for the
lifetime
rest of
bracelet.
my days.
Well,
And the board is the board even aware of my crime?
yes, we've read the details. Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I didn't.
We've read them. They're similar now. I know it's a long time ago, and I know that you haven't done it in a long time. So in your case, normally I would be like, yeah, let's let them do it.
Yeah.
I was raising questions that, well, the cops had to find you, so is he trying to,
Yeah, no, I didn't.
but the bracelet maybe changes that
The
picture a little bit?
bracelet, I wasn't trying to hide, because anytime somebody wanted me, they know right where I'm at.
I didn't know you were braceleted right
it's right
now.
Right here.
You know, I mean, I live with him, and believe me, I keep an eye on him. I mean, again, I don't know what he does all the time, but again, I
work and I come home, man.
understand people, all right, and he's been doing really well, and he's been on a good path. He goes to work, he comes home, he's taking care of the things he's supposed to take care of, and, you know, the guy's on a good path right now, and to
You're
disrupt- to
not
dis-
on drugs right now or any?
No.
You're clean?
I'll keep working through the application, but I don't want, if you guys have other questions about the other offenses, again, the residency requirements aren't because of the other offenses, it just goes to whether they,
Yeah, no,
believe you're gonna
that's-
comply with things, that sort of thing.
Oh.
So if you guys have other questions about any of that, we can do it, but just to keep working through our worksheet, then you've got a list of the treatment programs that you've completed, so everything that you listed here, well, let me ask this, SOT, the sex offender treatment, was that completed?
It was completed inside and, part of DCC.
Where are the other offenses?
You're talking about these?
Up at the top of that page, if you're looking for what we just,
So much.
Got a lot of paperwork.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm
Don't,
lost.
don't get upset over my questioning or how I'm questioning. I'm just doing my diligence.
I'm not mad at you. It's just.
I'm not trying to retry your cases. I'm just.
No, I know.
We're just trying to get to the bottom.
No, I get it, man. I know.
I would advise you in any future interaction with towns and villages you want to move to is contact them up front, even if your bracelet's not, because that'll set a whole different tone. And they'll send a whole different message. Okay? But I can understand why that not going off would have given you maybe a false sense of, you're okay, I'm thinking that.
so you completed SOT, you've got, can you talk about your alcohol and drug counseling and what that consisted of and the status of it? If you wanna do that in a closed door session so that it's not on the live stream, we can do that. If you're comfortable talking about it here, we can talk about it here,
Fine.
your call.
Yeah, I'm talking about it right here.
Okay, you wanna kind
Denied.
of talk us through that, what that consisted of and where that stands? I'm looking at, on here,
Oh, the three?
the alcohol and drugs.
Yeah, so my SOT treatment was with a guy named Joel. He's still doing that, but the counselor that, I had my drug and alcohol with, used to work for Joel, but he no longer does, to my knowledge. I was in that group probably 3 months, give or take, and I graduated. I was also involved in a group called Thinking for Change. It's kind of, it's a group that makes you aware of how you feel, kind of the slow down, stop and think process, instead of, getting kind of wild up right away and responding. It's just a group that teaches you and shows you different examples or exercises to slow down.
You don't have any OWIs or DWIs or any of that?
No, I'm a truck driver, man. I drive semi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You play a pretty, and they drug and alcohol test.
Oh, yeah. We got trucks, we got cameras right in our trucks. Plus, we have to go to DOT physicals. Plus, at any given time, we can get pulled over by a state trooper. I mean, they're entitled to drop us and check our weights and run us through a DOT physical and do a DVIR on us. I mean,
Okay. This is
Would it-
all helpful to know.
Would it be accurate to say that your involvement with drugs was just those times then where you were selling it?
yeah, I don't, yeah, listen, I don't know how to, I just have I have a bad rap sheet, that goes back a long time, but yeah, you don't have to worry about, I'm not coming in here, I'm not trying to ask to live in your community, to upset anybody, or to sell drugs, man. I'm on the up and up, man. I work a job, I go home, I take my shower, I eat.
I hope you're getting a little bit of the trying to educate you a little bit from our perspective. What can further help your case in the future? Just, that sends a pretty big message. You know, I'm gonna come to you, hey, I think that with it being so long ago, most boards, because you may end up like this again.
Hope not.
I mean, you may end up with a board of, before a board because of the registry, is what I'm saying. So if you want to move to whatever. So I've kind of gotten a picture. Can I ask, does your office have any negative contact with them outside of running the?
Not to my knowledge.
Like I said, I do. I mean, I've been pulled over, so I had a roll and stop right there. But I haven't had any.
Do your neighbors, like people living on both sides, your background?
Matter of fact, all the people that I do know in that neighborhood know my background. And I'm talking, I live on a street. I live at there is no house on my right-hand side. It's all field. And I have neighbors to my left. And I would say,
The
I don't
two
know.
buildings we live in, there's 4 condos in each. All 8 of those condos, those people all know what his
That he has a background, they're okay with you
All
being
8
there?
of those.
Okay.
For sure, those 8. No.
And there's no, just to point out too, there is like no, I mean, I don't know how much this plays a role, but there's like no minors like near, like everybody that I live with or that's next to me neighbor wise is at least 40s, 50s.
There's no children,
There's,
not in those 2 buildings.
No.
are your mother and father, I see your mother and father as a support network. Do you still talk to them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. My mother's huge support network of me.
Could you live with them if you had to?
No, because my mom and dad separated. My dad actually stays out in Arizona, or Vegas now. And my mom, it's her boyfriend that kicked me out of the house. He had enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Are you locked in Wisconsin basically because of this, or?
No, I can leave. I can get an interstate compact. It's pending the other state would be okay with taking me. You know.
You're on, probation.
Correct.
What are the terms of your probation?
I'm not sure I follow.
Do you have to have, chaperones to go certain places? Do you have?
Yeah, certain places.
You just kind of walk through. I don't know
So-
if we've seen the judgment that lists the stuff, but if you kind of take us through what they are, so we know.
So for chaperones, it would just I would need a chaperone to go any place to where like kids might hang out.
You gotta get an okay from your probation officer to go to any
Yeah.
of these places.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what they're talking about.
Hey, can you go to the zoo?
What do you mean by he's had an okay? Yeah,
His PO's gotta okay him to go to.
oh, he has to.
Almost anywhere he goes.
I have to get, so I have a form that I gotta fill out. It's called a sex offender activity request form, and anything outside of like
Golfing, I asked him to go golfing,
no, I don't. I can go. I can do that.
Yeah, no,
without-
I know, but
That I can do
you can't go
without.
to just any course.
No.
You can go to the one that she okayed.
Yeah. Excuse me. But there's an activity request. So for like things like ball games, concerts, if I want to go to like a nature reserve, just things like that.
You have to ask.
I would have to seek permission. Yeah, and then I would take a chaperone. A chaperone would be anybody that the department deemed responsible, right?
Friend. So
Dale, my mother, sister.
you get
my
approval to
nephew.
go to these places generally? They give you approval?
The stuff I asked for, man, I asked for like I took my mother and Dale, I treated them to the TSO concert for Christmas. And then, you know, me and my mom might go to a Brewer game or I might catch a concert, and I might go to golfing on a Saturday, on a nice day, but that's like the extent of my entertainment. So I don't like go places, like I don't go to parks, I don't go to zoos. A zoo's not someplace I don't even think I could go. Great America is definitely not a place I could go, even with a chaperone.
Did your aunt and uncle, I guess, why aren't they here?
What?
Your aunt and uncle, why didn't they come to this?
Why didn't they come to this? So my aunt she's I think they're better off at home.
They okay, do they want you to live with them?
Absolutely.
Okay. I
Hundred
guess that's-
percent. I can get that in writing for you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, my aunt is, she's
His aunt is on
A lot of
number
meds.
medications.
Okay.
she's kind of
And
bipolar and
she's interacting with new people. It's not her best thing.
and she just doesn't
Yeah, she's not-
converse
yeah, she's not-
very well.
she's not- yeah.
So.
I think,
And my uncle, unfortunately, he's doing some repairs on the garage.
sure.
Kind of busy gardening, and so.
So anything else in terms of probation, limits on internet or,
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, I have limitations. Limitations on internet. I have limitations as far as like I'm not supposed to, like. I know this sounds ridiculous, but like if there's a movie and there's nudity in it, you might just, hey, can I watch this movie? And then she runs through it and
Doesn't sound ridiculous. I don't watch stuff like that.
I mean, I'm not watching a porn movie. I'm talking about if you watch like Halloween, like the first Halloween, I think they show his sister when she got killed,
Yeah.
they showed her breast. I mean, but to cover myself, hey, there's nudity in this movie. Can I watch this? And run it past them. And if they say it's fine, then I do. If they
So
say
you
no.
have a history of reaching out to your PO
Do I have a history of reaching out to her?
for these types of,
I would say, yeah, the last couple, yeah. Recently, I mean, making these changes in my life, yeah, I would say that. Prior to that, no.
Because, yeah, it would look, the community would look at us like, okay, we say yes to this guy, he cuts his bracelet off again, and,
Right, I know, I know.
you know, and it's gonna make you look bad too, if I ever see, you know?
It doesn't make just him look bad, I mean, but
If
it's,
I can interject there, that, yeah, I'd be pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
If that happened, and I don't see it happening, and again, that's, my big thing is, I feel so strongly about this, that's why I'm here, that, this is a guy who just needs to be allowed to keep on the path that he's on. He's on the right path, and he's doing the right things, and if he can just stay on that path, you aren't gonna hear from this guy again. He's,
We haven't heard from the other two.
I was
We
just
haven't
gonna
had any
say, you ain't
problems
heard from me, I've been here a year and a
I'm
half.
just saying, it's.
with the other people, we haven't had any problems with them, have we?
No,
The
I'm
other
sorry, the other-
registrants that we allowed in.
We have not.
So we
what's
haven't
that?
begrudged
I
it.
didn't hear that.
Our other three people that we've said yes to, we haven't had any problems with them.
Oh, yeah. However this goes, I got to look at the big picture. I've been through stuff like this, and being told no, it happens
Part of
more
the game.
times than I care to say. But I'll make it work one way or another. If I get granted,
I'm satisfied with what I've heard.
I think I just have one other question. Are you ordered, under orders to do any type of counseling or treatments at this time?
oh sir.
So, other thoughts to share with them, other questions? Otherwise, we can move on to the next phase. How do you guys feel?
how long have you been at your current job?
A good year, just about a year, maybe 11 months, or yeah, I'd say a year. Got my CDL probably 13 months ago.
Is that interstate or just in our state? In our state or intra?
It's interstate. I can go out of state, travel.
Go out of state.
Yeah.
Interstate.
Interstate, yeah. I can travel the whole country.
Right.
You have to tell a parole agent when you're traveling for work?
Yes. Oh, well, I mean, so the way I go, like I said, we delivered to Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. So my agent's aware, like I make 2 runs to Illinois weekly, and she's aware of that, so she just gave me an interstate compact for 6 months at a time
Okay.
to travel to that state for work purposes. And then, after those 6 months, I'll petition for it again, and then she'll give me another 6 months, and so that way I can travel out of state to deliver for my job.
If you guys have said and asked what you think you need to say and ask, then we're at number 5, which is the closed session. We should go into closed session at a minimum, for me to kind of talk with you about the process and things. If there is anything that you want to talk to them about that fits within either discussing the crimes and the victims or discussing medical treatments, if you have anything more to say, we can do that there. If you don't, then we'll just go back and do our thing. It's up to you.
You can go back and do your thing. I don't think I mean, I don't want to sell myself here. I mean, it's not,
And again, we won't decide anything back. I'm just gonna talk to them about how it works.
yeah, no, that's fine.
So I will read the closed session exemption because we're required to do that. When I do that, somebody can make a motion to go into closed session, and then the other one second it, and then we'll do a vote on that. So it would be a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 1985-1F for the purpose of considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations. And Wisconsin statute section 1985-1G for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the board who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the board with respect to litigation in which the board is or is likely to become involved. Purpose of the closed session is to discuss aspects of the petition that qualify for those closed session exemptions. So that's the closed session basis. That's why we're allowed to go and have a confidential session. If one of you make a motion to go into closed session, the other one second.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, and then vote on it, all ayes. Actually, it's a roll call vote. Will you call on each of them to vote yes on, yes or no on going into closed session?
I will. Michelle Clem,
Yes.
Joseph Simon.
Yes.
Cool, okay. So we're in closed session now. That means, I don't know what it means in terms